No, I want to be able to see your face though. Hi guys, I'm Max, this is Sophie, and welcome back to our van build.
This week is getting technical with the electrical. So we are going to be figuring out how we're going to power our van, what we're putting in it, and we're going to talk you guys through every single step of those decisions. So I hope you enjoy. So the first question is, where do you even start with electrics? Now, we decided to make a huge list of everything we use that uses electricity. We found the best way to do this was to keep a log of everything electrical we used in our house for about 3 days. For example, I have about 1,000 cups of tea a day, and I didn't even make the connection between the electric kettle and my tea habit.
And I'll do a lot of charging of power tools and also charge my electric razor to shave my face.
Yeah, that's every day as well, isn't it? The hob has the electrical ignition, so there's lots of things that you need to kind of really focus in on and make sure you have a really comprehensive list.
So once you have that house-specific list, you need to add to it your van-specific list. Once you have your list of electrical items, it's really good to work your way down it and see if there's anything you absolutely need to have or things you think you can live without.
Living in a van is really different from living in a house. You will have to make sacrifices. But if you make that personal choice about things that you have to have and things you can do without, it will make it much, much easier when you are speccing your system. And these are some of the non-negotiables we have in our van.
We need enough power to both be able to work on our laptops all day because we both work remotely.
We're living in this van full time, so we definitely need a large fridge.
And to keep us warm for it to start up, our diesel heater needs electricity. We need to charge 2 phones and camera batteries each day.
Our plumbing system also uses electricity. We also need to power our lights, a toilet fan that's not in here yet, and our air vents.
Now that you have that comprehensive list of all of your electrical items, whether they're 240 volt or 12 volt, you need to work out how much power they're going to use each day.
So this can be pretty hard to figure out. You're going to have to use a lot of maths and some really random formulas to figure out your power usage. As well as this list, you also need to consider the differences between a sunny day and a cold day, a wet day, a day you're going to be staying in the van, a day you're going to be spending out hiking. These will all change the amount of power that you're using.
We spent a lot of time staring at numbers on spreadsheets, but then luckily we stumbled across an online calculator that could do a lot of our working out for us.
So one of the great things about this calculator is that not only can you add in your own appliances, but if you have something that is quite common, there's actually some drop-down menus and it will automatically add all the specs in for you. So for example, we've got a water pump here that just goes in without us having to do anything.
We found the Bespoke Solar online calculator really useful because you input all of your appliances and loads, calculate it, and it kicks out your how much solar you need, what size batteries you need, and also what size inverter.
So this is a stage where you're probably freaking out and thinking, there's no way, A, I can afford all that, or B, those batteries are going to fit in my van. So this is the stage where you need to think, do I really need that hairdryer or that electric kettle, or can I cut down, trim down, and slim down this system?
And this is the point where Bespoke Solar's online calculator is really useful because you can adjust and turn off lines and turn on lines for appliances that you do and don't need until you work out something that you're really happy with. If you get stuck, it's really easy to just pick up the phone and give Chris a call. He has a camper van himself, so he understands the need for a proper, good, reliable system in your van.
He's also a really nice guy, so just pick up the phone and he'll chat to you for hours. He'll figure out your issues. He's been so helpful for us, hasn't he?
Really helpful.
And we're going to drop a link down below so you can get in contact with him. Now you know how much power you need to figure out how you're going to get that power into your van, where it's going to be stored, and how you're going to distribute it around your van. So let's go see the roof.
There are a few different ways to get power into your batteries and then into your van, and the first one that a lot of people in their vans use is solar. Once you've worked out how much solar you're going to need, the biggest limitation is how much space you have on your roof to accommodate all of the panels. A really good way we found to work this out is to cut some cardboard out the size of the solar panels you're going to be using, and then you can lay them out on the roof and check you've got enough space. Something you need to think about is how you're going to attach your solar panels up on your roof. You can buy some kind of corner feet that attach directly to the roof, or you can attach them up on top of a roof rack. Solar's fantastic and sunlight is always free. However, here in the UK, it's not something you can 100% rely on. So we're going to look at a few other options of getting power into your batteries.
So when your solar's not being super reliable, another way you can get power into your van is through Hookup, which is essentially plugging your van into mains. Now, when we're at festivals, a lot of the time we will be taking power off a generator. So we need one of these. Unfortunately, this power can't go straight into your batteries because this is mains and this is 240 volts. So you're going to need a battery charger, but we're going to talk about those a little bit later. What we're going to look at first is the other way that you can get power to your batteries.
Ooh, look at that gorgeous engine. Your vehicle is generating electricity while you drive along by pumping power into your vehicle batteries, and there are some clever ways you can steal some power off your vehicle batteries to charge your leisure batteries.
So for our system, we've actually been a bit greedy and we're going with all three of those options. We are aiming to be as self-sufficient as possible, and having a system that can do all of that will help us achieve that goal, hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And we're going to spend some time now talking through all of those different elements of our system and try and justify why we chose each one we are going for. We're
going to show you some of the options that are available out there, some different cost options, and hopefully we'll help you make your choices as well. Component wars. Pew pew pew.
Pew pew pew.
So component one is a solar control charger thing. It's basically taking the power that is generated by your solar and turning it into something that your batteries can use. And there are two different ways you can do that.
The first is a PWM controller, which stands for pulse width modulation, which in essence is just kind of a switch which turns on when there's voltage coming down from your solar panels to pump it down towards your batteries. A pro for this type is that it is cheaper and way more cost effective compared to other options. However, it doesn't work as well at higher temperatures. The next is an MPPT, which stands for maximum power point tracking.
Well remembered.
I definitely read that. This is a more sophisticated unit that can vary the voltage coming in from the panels and also the voltage that's going down towards your batteries. The pros of an MPPT compared to a PWM is that with the exact same solar panel, they can be up to 30% more efficient. They also work better for larger solar arrays with multiple solar panels, because you can wire these solar panels in series and then get the most out of your solar with an MPPT.
They are completely future-proof because they work with any type of battery that you put in your system. And for our system, we are going to choose the MPPTs.
Yeah.
For all the reasons that we've just said, and we've actually got two. So the next component is our split charger. So this is stealing power from our engine, essentially. The engine is making power as you drive, it is charging your vehicle batteries, and we are taking some of that power and putting it into our leisure batteries. Options, please.
First one is a kind of relay-based device. The first is a relay-based device known as a VSR, which stands for voltage sensitive relay. So this works by when the vehicle battery voltage gets up to a point, it opens a circuit which then allows it to feed into your leisure circuit. The pros of this are that they're pretty affordable again. However, the cons is that they're never going to 100% charge your leisure batteries because they're always comparing them to your vehicle batteries. The second option is a DC to DC charger, which works a bit more like a household battery charger. It can take a range of voltages on the vehicle side and put in a fixed voltage on the leisure side, and they're two completely different electrical circuits. The pros for a DC to DC charger is that it can deliver a deeper state of charge and charge those batteries up to 100%. It'll also work on newer vans with smart alternators, where a VSR would drop out when the vehicle kind of alternator drops its voltage. A DC to DC charger also puts much less strain on the vehicle's alternator compared to a VSR, which could limit the vehicle alternator's lifetime. They're also much better for different types of batteries that you could have for your leisure system.
One of the cons is they are a little bigger and will cost more than the VSR. However, the pros do outweigh those little cons. So for that reason, we have chosen this one for our system. It also works better on our system, which is 24 volt, but we're going to talk more about that later. Another one we're going to look at is using shore power. So as we said earlier, we use generators at festivals and stuff, so we want some mains power in our van. You can use that 240 volt in a direct way with your 240 volt appliances, but obviously only when you are plugged in. And Max is going to talk to you about other ways that you can use it.
So you can charge your leisure batteries through a battery charger, which transforms that 240 volt of AC power into 12 volt of DC power, which is what your batteries can take. Lower spec battery chargers just throw a fixed amount of voltage at your batteries and charges them with that. Whereas a more intelligent modern battery charger has stages, which are often bulk, absorption and float, so it charges the battery in those stages to charge it in the most efficient way. Chargers are rated in amps, so a 10 amp charger will put 10 amps of power into your battery every hour.
If you want to run your 240 volt appliances while you're not hooked up to shore power, you're going to need an inverter, which is going to take your 12 volt power and turn it into 240.
Modified sine wave inverters quite roughly recreate the AC wave pattern. They're a bit outdated and don't work well with kind of computerized electronics, so any tool chargers, laptops or clocks.
They are cheap though, so.
Pure sine wave inverters recreate the exact AC wave pattern that you'll have coming out of the sockets in your house, so they're going to work with all your electronics that you could ever need.
However, they are more expensive.
All inverters are rated up to a wattage limit, so you need to make sure that is sufficient for all of the AC appliances you want to plug into it. You have to remember there is a percentage of efficiency when you're using battery chargers and inverters, so you need to make sure that when you're hooked up on shore power, you have a direct socket, so you're not going from 240 volt to 12 and then from 12 back up to 240 just to power your AC items.
So to deal with all of that, we've gone for something a little bit different, which is the Victron Multiplus, which kind of combines those components into one little blue box.
Yeah, that Multiplus works as a battery charger, it works as an inverter, it also works as a direct hookup to give our sockets 240 volt mains. Additionally, it can do some clever things like feed heavy 240 volt AC draws within the van from a hookup, as well as combining it with power from the batteries, so we can run some higher wattage items too. You can also set a digital limit of how much amperage you want to pull through an electric hookup. So if you're plugging into a house, you could set it at 13 amps, whereas if you're plugging it into probably a generator in our case, we could pull 16 amps. Now that we've looked at the ways to generate and get power into your van, we need to look at how we store that power.
This means batteries. Now there are three main types of batteries, and whichever ones you choose will depend on the size of your van, your weight limits, and also your budget.
The first is lead acid. This is traditionally what you'll find in kind of your car and vehicle batteries.
They're the cheapest option out there. They aren't that efficient though, and you are going to have to be really careful when you're watching the levels in those, because if you drain them, they will die permanently.
The next type of battery is AGM, which is what you're going to find in most van conversions. They're much more electrically reliable than a lead acid battery, and you can discharge them down that bit more.
And the last ones are lithium. Now these are like the big boys of the battery world. They're super expensive, but they're also pretty damn awesome. They're really robust and they will last a long while, but yeah, they cost a bomb.
For our system, we've decided to go with Victron Supercycle AGM batteries because we couldn't quite afford that lithium setup. However, they have a much higher percentage of usable capacity. You can also, although it's not advised, fully discharge them and it won't kill that battery forever.
And because we have a Mercedes Vario, the space issue isn't such a big issue for us, and also we can carry quite a lot of weight. So our current system works really well with the AGM, but it will also work with the lithium. So we are future-proofed. If we finally save up our pennies, we could afford lithium in the future, we can then upgrade. So it all kind of works with either one of those options. So hopefully you've now been able to spec your system and figure out how to generate your power and to get it into your batteries. You then will need to run it to the rest of your van. Now, most of you will run that in 12 volt because your van will run on 12 volt. Our van actually runs on 24 volt. So next week's video is going to be all about us and how our system works on the 24 down to 12 volt system.
And we have just got off the phone to Chris and put in our order for all of our electrical equipment.
Yay! You'd better start doing your wiring diagram, huh?
I guess I should. And that is where we're going to leave this week's video, so thank you so much for watching, and we really hope you found that all useful. If you have any questions at all, please drop them down in the comments below, unless they're too technical, at which point get in touch with Chris. His details are down there in the description.
The next video is going to be us getting all of our equipment talking through it and making sure that we have a full system explained to you guys. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. So massive thank you for watching this week's, and if you could drop us a thumbs up or comment down below, it really makes a difference to us. And I guess that's it. So we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.